tak panjang pun. Okay, kelas rap boleh? Mulakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma aftah alaina hikmataka wa insyur alaina min qada'ini rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
So, what we are going to discuss are the questions ataupun practice questions lah. Ini pun sebab I think some of you bila jawab survey, iaitu respon, bukan jawab lah, response survey yang saya bagi tu, ada yang bagi cadangan kalau boleh ada macam practice questions before doing the actual online quiz, just to get a feel lah kan. So ni pun hasil daripada and dia pun suggest untuk provide questions for this chapter and the next chapter, so that you can test out your understanding, and this is not assessed lah, and you don't even have to do questions. So I'm sure whether did you not do the questions, but we are just going through lah. So, siapa yang ada buat, you can take it out and we can discuss it together. Tapi kalau siapa yang tak buat lagi, you can go through and try to understand. Tapi overall, I think the questions are not really that hard in terms of calculations. Am I right?
Yes.
Cumanya, tapi dia macam tak sama dengan content apa yang you all kena belajar of the 4 subtopics kan? 11.1, 11.2, 11.3 kan? Sebab kalau kan dia cerita tentang current, potential divide, potential difference. Yang mungkin challenging sikit tu ialah part 4 kan, pasal sensing devices. Okay. Lupa juga, siapa yang dah submit feedback notes tu, thank you very much. I've gone through it, cuma saya tak respon lagi. Belum lagi respon. So insyaAllah before your final exam for this semester, which we do not know when at the moment, we will have a revision session for each chapter. So tadi bila ada jugalah yang request untuk nak recap balik, especially chapter on deformations of solid kalau tak silap. You have that opportunity untuk revisekan that chapter insyaAllah. Okay. Cumanya just for you to know, out of these 4 topics for this chapter 11.1, 11.2, 11.3, chapter 11.4 ni sebenarnya ialah syllabus A2 AAS. Sebenarnya as a result of discussion dengan Puan Haniza, Teacher Haniza, dia kata untuk 11.4 ni kita akan include juga for this semester sebab dia related. Kalau you tengok syllabus which is provided to you kan dekat dalam Google Classroom ada kan 1921 kan. So dekat dalam syllabus rasanya Teacher Haniza dah pernah cerita dah benda ni. Tulisan yang bukan bold ialah AS, tulisan yang bold tu ialah let me just show you kalau mungkin you guys lah kan, where this is the syllabus. Lambat sikit saya punya intro. So tapi adakah dia significant juga for your AS? Not really, tapi dia significant for your A2. So ni dia macam banyak conceptual, dia tak straightforward sangat macam AS. AS ni macam right? C equals to IR, P equals to VI. So dia macam senang je kan, buat what is current, number of electrons, resistance, semua tu kan. So dia macam straightforward, cumanya conceptual, explanation, description, that is required more on A2 lah kan. So bila you tengok dia punya sensing devices tu, mungkin dah jadi pening-pening lah kan, sebab dia konsep lah kan, on devices that can sense electricity without using the standard potential difference ataupun voltage lah kan. Mr. Dia piezoelectric yang digunakan ultrasound, dia guna crystal semua tu kan. Engage, dia guna elastic energy. So all those devices are basically sensing devices yang cuba untuk nak detect, cuba untuk nak convertkan non-electric energy into electric energy. Which is useful kali, okay, challenging, okay. Bila nanti you betul-betul nak apply as an engineer, tapi challenging bila you nak belajar kan untuk akademik, tu je lah. So just bear with it lah. Okay, let me just show you, this is the syllabus lah kan. Okay, we've got waves. Contohnya interference superposition, dia tulis sini 15 sebab dia di-compile terus AS11 ni kan. Dekat ni dia tak ada lagi lah amendments what not lah kan. Okay, here this is the electric field. Contoh kalau electric field, the one that we did last week, just cover sepatutnya 10.1 dan 10.2 je lah kan. Tapi dia ada lagi 3 subtopic which will be discussed during A2. Electric forces between point charges. This is the Coulomb's law yang saya cerita panjang lebar tu kan. F equals to Q1 Q2 over 4 pi epsilon R squared, which is obeying the inverse square law. The application between 2 points to electrical charges. So this will be discussed nanti dalam A2 lah. Untuk kita punya ni, contohnya current of electricity ni kan. Alright. So you've got electric current here, potential difference and resistance. The I, V, R. Betul tak? And then you've got sensing devices. And you can see sensing devices is bold. So this is actually included in your A2. Okay. But you need to know lah kan. And the notes are actually quite comprehensive. Maknanya in the sense bukanlah comprehensive, lots of information. Dia lebih kepada what you need to know. Okay. So just bear with it. InsyaAllah it will be useful. Cuma takut terlupa lah benda tu ada nanti tu kan. Alright. So now we'll be focusing on the practice questions lah Just untuk nak warm up lah kita nak masuk dielectric ni kan. Sebab benda yang abstract, benda yang kita tak nampak insyaAllah. Okay. So first, calculate the charge passing a point in a wire carrying a current of 1.2 amperes for 3 minutes. So this is basically, visualization is good lah in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Visualization is good. Visualization of what the question is actually asking us. So now we've got a wire. It says, calculate the charge passing a point in a wire carrying a current of 1.2 for 3 minutes. So it's very straightforward. You just have to know the formula of Q equals to IT. Betul tak? Q equals to IT, I is 1.2 amperes, T is 3 minutes. So what is required here is the conversion between minutes to seconds. So remember lah, minit tu ialah berapa saat? 60 saat gitu. Okay. So just a matter of conversion kat sini. And then make sure you calculate, tekan calculator tu betul. The value is 216 coulombs, but you might want to round it off to the nearest 2 significant figures because all of the values here are given at 2 significant figures for some reason lah kan. Okay. So now just a concept lah kan, nak cerita share sikit lah kan. Sebab yelah you guys tengok video yang dah siap dekat YouTube, senang sikit kan. Senang sikit lecture tu kan, standardize semua. Discuss dengan Teacher Haniza macam tu je, kita simple je, straightforward je. Nak buat video nanti takut jadi famous lah kan. So dia kata electric current is a measure of the amount of charge per number. This is the definition of current lah dia bagi kan. So the charges are most often electrons, but they could be anything with an electrical charge like protons or ions. Okay. Did you guys actually attempt the electrostatic experiment dalam video tu?
No.
Yes.
Tak.
Yang dia suruh gosok-gosok tu kan?
The balloon with the lamp.
No balloon.
No teacher, I don't got any balloon.
You ada, you buat masuk dalam YouTube. tengok betul tak betul. Dia kata, oh, this actually works better sebab tak ada lighting or whatnot kan. We don't really know whether it's true or not kan. At least you have some practical kan. Nak buat, nak pergi lab sekarang dah tak boleh lah kan.
No balloon sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, before this, before we proceed, okay, let me just ask you. For this example, in which direction is the current I flowing? Okay, so you are allowed to annotate, silakan. Draw me the direction of current.
Current is opposite right of electron.
Yeah.
Silakan, Shazwan.
Uh,
Draw me an arrow that shows the direction of current. Okay. So it is the opposite direction of electrons. So where is positive and where is negative? Okay, add another drawing there. Which one? Alright, that one is positive. On the left hand side is positive. The right hand side is negative. Just concept lah kan. Kalau dalam semiconductor, you guys akan tengok lagi lah dia punya apa the motion ataupun the movement, displacement of electrons and holes kan. When an electron occupy a hole, it leaves a hole at its original position. So dia akan pindah kat situlah the direction of the current. Right, thank you very much. So let's proceed. Now calculate the current of a calculator battery of 3.8 milli lah coulombs. How do you actually pronounce? Coulomb ke, column ke, coulomb?
Column.
Kan tu kan? 8 and 120 seconds, right? Okay. So this picture has got nothing to do with the question. It's just a visualization lah Later kan. You might want to kan, nak buat practical juga kan. Ambil email calculator, buka belakang dia tengok the battery is this one In case tak ada siapa pernah tengok lah bateri bulat. Ingat kan bateri semua yang triple A. Tapi ni ada bateri dia tu kan. Dia punya code dia kan RCR something. Dia ada 5 numbers. Kat situ. Alright. So we have Q here and we've got T. So using the same equation, Q equals to IT, straightforward lah kan. So 0.2 times 10 to the power minus 5, kalau you nak gunakan microampere boleh juga. So the current that actually is located within your calculator is quite small lah kan. So risk of having of experiencing a short circuit ataupun electric shock kalau you main-main dengan you punya wayar dalam calculator tu sikit lah. Dia punya tu sikit kan. Alright. Question 3, a component is connected to a DC supply. Okay, DC supply ni kira macam dia pengenalan lah kepada
Ya. Sorry.
connected to a DC supply, so dia macam mukadimah lah the next chapter kan. The supply has negligible internal resistance. Oh, what internal resistance? Anyone knows?
The component.
Yeah, what component?
The component.
There is a difference between resistance and the internal resistance kan. Maknanya the internal resistance that is without using an external resistor. Okay, tapi dia kata negligible. Okay, tapi dia punya symbol adalah R lah, small letter R. At 6 volts, the current in the component is 0.023 amperes. When the PD, PD ni dia guna short form question ni.
Voltage.
dia boleh jadi potential difference, tapi dia ada juga potential divider circuit kan. Dia ada juga proportional division integration punya controller. So PD controller kalau dalam control, so very dangerous main guna dia main guna abbreviations ni, short form ni. Because we are in current of electricity, we know that PD refers to potential difference. And hopefully nobody has the idea PD. PD for the macam mana ni? Cik. Tak ada kaitan So the current in the component increases to 0.1 ampere. Okay, now take the resistance of the component at 6 volts. So resistance at 6 volts is equals to R equals to VI. You use the triangle kan? You guna triangle.
Saya hafal V equal to IR just.
Kan? Yang guna ada ke? Ada masih tutup tu. Kalau you nak cari V tutup, you kan buat IR. Kalau tutup R, you kan V over I. Macam benda yang straightforward lah kan. Okay. So the answer is 260 ohms. Ohm Ohm. Okay, question B. Does the component obey Ohm's law? So siapa yang boleh cerita what is Ohm's law?
Ohm's law, current is directly proportional to voltage.
In constant temperature.
Yeah.
At constant temperature, that is important kan? Dia punya disclaimer guys. Ada satu dia tu kan yang dia kata YV equals to IR is not equals to Ohm's law kan? If you see E equals to IR is equals to Ohm's law, that is incorrect. Why?
Because
Temperature might be affected with the resistance.
Okay, thanks. Alright, so it shows that you watch the videos lah kan? If not watching the video, you just read the title lah kan? Okay. So now we check the resistance at double PD, potential difference, which is V2 equals to 2V1 lah kan? 12 volts. Okay. So the form, okay, what is going to come up after this? Okay, what is Ohm's law? Here you have it. All right. Ohm's law states that for a conductor at constant temperature, the current passing through the conductor is proportional to the potential difference. So it is stated by George Simon Ohm. In case anyone is wondering, he is not a Jew, but he is a German physicist. Okay, 1827. Handsome ke tak Serabut je kan. Most physicists are serabut kan. So, kalau you consider physicist as a career, so you don't have to really think about your personal appearance lah.
handsome and he's a kid, sir.
Okay, so kita proceed lah so in order to, how do we go about this? How do you want to know whether the component is obeying Ohm's law or not? We have to see the proportionality lah kan. So in order to do that, we've got one value of the resistance here, 260 ohms at 6 volts. So kalau dia 12 volts, kita boleh estimate lah kan berapa sepatutnya value dia. So kat sini dia, bila kita calculate, the value is 120 ohms roughly. So from here, macam mana? Is it obeying or is it not obeying? Kalau dia obey, berapa sebenarnya value R tu?
Double.
Times 2 lah. Constant.
60.
Constant. I don't know.
Constant.
Constant.
Blur dah semua.
That should be constant.
Dia punya proportionality lah is that I is proportional to
V.
V.
V lah kan. Maknanya there needs to be a constant value kan.
Yeah.
Kalau V, kalau kita buat is equal to, dia akan constant. Katakanlah selalunya constant kita guna K lah kan, small letter K lah kan. I'm actually drawing at the left bottom slide kalau in case anyone is wondering. So V equals to Ki. So K ni lah constant. Constant needs to be a constant value. Yang mana kita tahu K ni kalau kita main dengan yang triangle tadi tu, yang tak ada kena-mengena dengan Illuminati. So this K is actually representing the resistance value. Kan? So resistance R. So in order for a component to obey Ohm's law, the resistance at any other values of I or V, it needs to be constant. But in this case, the R value is not constant. So that is the reason why it does not obey Ohm's law. So why it does not obey Ohm's law? Because
resistance is not constant.
Because the resistance is not constant. Okay, let's just look at this graph, which I did actually, just as a comparison, right? So if we plot it out, the 2 points that we have here, kan, kita ada first volt ialah 6 volts, and then we've got another one at 12 volts. Okay, the current for this component at 6 volts is actually roughly 0.023 kan. And then kalau dia dekat 12 volt, dia punya current ialah 0.1. So if we plot it out from the origin, which is 0, 0, so the curve of the current voltage would not be showing a degree of proportionality. Tapi dia macam lebih pada exponential. Maksud exponential tu apa? You increasekan voltage sikit, dia punya current will go high. So usually what that happens, the implication is that heat will be transferred more quickly. So material ni dia akan jadi cepat panas. Komponen ni akan jadi cepat panas sebab you increasekan voltage sikit saja, current dia akan melonjak tinggi naik atas. So dia macam kalau dia punya COVID-19 punya graph tu, dia tengah memuncak, dia kena lockdown lah. Lockdown. MCO. So kalau ikutkan, kalau dia adalah proportional ataupun this component is obeying Ohm's law, it must be either one of these two dotted curves. Okay, maknanya dia kena straight line lah. So this another way for you to ensure to determine whether the component obeys Ohm's law or not is actually you plot these 2 points. Okay, so when you plot these 2 points, which point yang you kena plot? 6 volts and 0.023, 0.1 volts and 12 volts. Okay, so this is the first point is this one. This is the first point. Point is 6 and 0.023, and the second point here is 12 and 0.1. So bila you plot, you cuba sambungkan dekat origin 0, 0. Kalau dia bukan straight line, maknanya it does not obey Ohm's law. Sebenarnya yang straight line tu sebenarnya dia representkan constant resistance lah kan sebenarnya. Kalau you ambil gradient kan, you will get the same thing. Okay, so this is just alternatives lah for you to know. Okay, macam mana graf ni boleh wujud? Cuba teka. Did I draw it manually dekat PowerPoint? This actually up to scale Guna Excel je lah. Since the resistance is not constant, R12 volts is not equal to R6 volts, thus the current I is not directly proportional to the potential difference V. Thus the component does not obey Ohm's law. Okay? Boleh? Okay, this one. IV characteristic calculate resistance. Kita baru je cakap resistance tadi ialah the gradient of the curve. So kalau kat sini, it's just a matter of you have to ambil point yang betul. Okay, you have to ambil point yang betul. So R into V over I, which is the gradient of the graph. Masuk. So RA is equal to 1.7 ohms. You ambil saja this point, 1 volt dengan 0.6 ampere. And the other one is, ni lah. RB is 5.8 ohms. You ambil 5.8 ataupun 5.8 and 10. Ataupun there is actually another point yang you boleh ambil kat sini juga. Yang manalah yang senang untuk you nak kira kan? Semua pun boleh, tak masalah. Okay? Proceed, question number 5. Calculate the potential difference across a component that transfers 15 joule. So dia main dengan energy lah kan. When a track of 4.2 columns follows through it. So you just use the formula E equals to QV, V equals to EQ, and you get this value. You convert it into two significant figures. Plus two significant figures ni. Straightforward. Okay, yang ni saya tak lama lah. Okay, question 6. Kalau siapa yang dah boring tu tengoklah gambar ni lama-lama A 1236 lamp is operated for 1 hour. Takkanlah kita nak tunggu slide ni 1 hour kan. Calculate the energy dissipated by the lamp. So energy dissipated So you use what? Which formula? P equals to W over T. Energy dissipated ataupun work done lah kan. So power times time 36 watts times 3600 seconds. So dia dah bagi dalam soalan tu kan. 1 hour is equals to 3600 seconds. So senang kerja kita. Walaupun sebenarnya kita boleh buat kan. 60 minutes times 60 seconds. So you get 3600 seconds. Okay. And then part B, the current in the lamp you can use P equals to VI. Where you rearrange the equation, you get I equals to P over V. And the value of the current is 3 amperes. Okay, straightforward. Okay, a solar cell delivers an average current of 3 milliamperes over a 6-hour period. Calculate the total charge that flows from the solar cell. So kalau siapa yang tak ingat, yang ni dia gunakan definition of current dan juga the number of charge as well as the value of the charge itself yang kita guna dalam previous chapter tu kan, 1.6 ni. So QIT charge lagi and there is another question. So dia tak minta number of charge, dia just kata total charge value dalam columns tu lah. So itulah dapat. Okay. Alright, this question is actually asking about number of electrons flowing past a point in the wire per second. So here the wire carries a current at 2 amperes, which is 2 coulombs per second based on the definition Q equals to IT. Because Q equals to IT, I equals to Q over T, the formal definition of a current. So based on QIT, Ni is actually equals to Ne, where N is the number of electrons per second and E is the charge value. So this, where do you find the charge value here? Is available in your data sheet. So we assume that electrons lah kan, dia dah bagi tahu, tak payah nak assume the elementary charge value of an electron is, the value is 1.6 times 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs. So the number of electrons that are actually flowing per second at a particular point in the wire is actually 1.25 times 10 to the power of minus 10 to the power. So trillion, billion, gigalion, berapa banyak lah kan. You boleh buat lah 125000000. Nah ceritanya electrons memang banyak lah yang tengah berjalan dekat satu wire, resistance wire guys. Alright. Kalau you dapat dia punya magnitude negative, so that means there must be something wrong in your calculations. Okay. Sebab number of electrons ni apa, bilangan elektron yang ada. Takkanlah bilangan elektron yang ada tu 0.000 kan. Dia mestilah kena nombor genap ataupun integer. Alright. Okay. So kalau siapa yang rasa terlalu laju sangat, I've recorded this session. Nanti you boleh tengok je lah. I hope I'm still recording it. Tak ada siapa yang tutup record Right, now thunderstorm. Okay. During a thunderstorm, a lightning strike has a current of 9,000 amperes and transfers a charge of 18 coulombs to the ground. So calculate the duration of the lightning strike. Okay, don't be intimidated by the usage of terms like thunderstorm, lightning strike. Wow. Sebab dia masih lagi benda yang sama saja kan. You got I here, you got the current value kat sini, and then you've got the Q value kat sini. So T tu apa? Guna je lah Q equals IT. So dia apa, formula yang sama tapi digunakan untuk application yang berbeza-beza. So this is what physics is all about kan. is kita panggil dia sebagai mathematical science. It explains the nature mathematically. So T equals to Q over I, so you get 0.02 seconds lah kan, which is logical lah kan, tak lightning tu lama sangat kan kalau itu kan. So number of electrons transferred to the ground, similar to the previous question, you need to know the value of the elementary charge. So the number of electrons is roughly to the power of 20. So banyaklah elektron tu yang bertebaran dekat dekat atas tanah tu lah bila dia tembak tu kan. So kita boleh tengok sekejap kan. Okay.
So,
Yes.
kenapa tak boleh guna I equal to NE?
I equals to NE.
Macam the question before this.
Okay.
Kenapa kita tak boleh guna I equal to NE?
Kenapa tak boleh guna ke ataupun bila guna tak dapat?
Sama je jawapan dia, sir. Tapi lain lah jawapan dia, sir. Tapi kenapa kat sini kita guna Q equal to NE? Kenapa before this kita guna I equal to NE?
That's a very good question. So if you use NE, if you use I equals INE, Q equals to NE, I equals to NE.
But the question before this part I equal to NE.
Okay, let me just check again.
IT equal to NE.
Yes sir. It's supposed to be Q.
Oh yes. Okay. There is an error here actually. Sebab kalau kita tengok kat sini, it is not I equals to NE. Thank you for pointing that out. It is per second. So kalau per second kat sini, maknanya we define T ni sama dengan berapa?
1 second.
1 second. Yes. Okay. So here, it is supposed to be
T.
IT. Okay. Yeah, kat sini. Alright. Thank you for pointing that out. Kita akan bermain dengan dia punya apa nama tu? Dia punya units lah kan. So dia hanya akan jadi the number of electrons is this one, which is correct lah kan. 1.3 times 10 to the power of 19. So this one should be multiplied by 1 second.
Yes.
Okay. It's per second, right? Alright. Okay. So if you want to use IT, so IT here be equals to E. So mathematically you should get the same answer lah kan. Because you know the number of the period in which the lightning strikes, and then the value of the current is actually using the same value that you use the Q initially. Right. Okay. Proceed. Question number 10. 100 ohms resistor can safely dissipate 0.25 watts. Calculate the maximum current in the resistor. So there you have it. P equals to VI is actually equals to I squared R. Have you ever seen dia punya yang Ohm's law punya dia panggil apa? Kan yang kita selalu guna tu ialah the triangle kan. Tapi ni there is another set of formulas yang dikembangkan.
Yes.
A donut shape punya formula sheet. Benar Okay, let me just nanti saya akan sharekan. Tapi bagi saya will be very much more complicated lah kan. Sebab you nak kena hafal benda ni sebenarnya I don't know whether you hafal ke setiap formula ke ataupun you derive it straight away. That means you kan derive saja kan. You tahu P equals to VI, so you just substitute lah kan. If you do not have V but you have I and R, so it will be I squared R ataupun V squared over R. So Asians are usually good that way, isn't it? Kalau go overseas nanti memang dia orang tu jenis yang hafal satu-satu. Sebab dia orang tak derive pun benda tu. Mungkin dia orang tak tahu macam nak derive ke apa. Usually that is the case lah for them. Tapi not all Europeans or not all Mak Saleh lah. Kita ni nampak Mak Saleh ni macam hebat sangat kan. Tapi sebijak-bijak Elon Musk pun, dia pun suruh jangan stay at home kan. So jadi kontroversi lah pula. Aduh. Inilah contoh Qudwah Nabi Muhammad SAW, bukannya Qudwah orang barat. So 100 ohms resistor can safely dissipate 0.25 watts. Calculate the maximum current in the resistor. Masukkan je lah value kan. You get 50 milliamperes lah. Okay. Substitute the value of R and you get the value of, you are given the value of P. And then you make sure you press your calculator correctly lah kan. It's either 50 milliamperes ataupun 5 times 10 to the power minus 2. Beza 50, this one is 50 and the other one is 5. Okay. This 510 is still two significant figures, 50 is also two significant figures. Right?
Alright.
11. A filament lamp in a small torch is labeled as 1.5 400 milliamperes. So this is standard dalam mana-mana electrical appliances. The filament lamp transfers 5% of the electrical energy into light and the remainder is dissipated as heat. So this is playing around with conservation of energy. Calculate number 1, the power rating of the lamp. So dia nak suruh cari P. Kita tahu P equals to VI, substitute V 1.5 volts, I equals to 400 milliamperes. So you get P is equals to 0.6 watts. So now, bila dia nak kata the power radiated as light. So we know that how many percent of the entire electrical energy here is transferred into light is only 5%. So that means what about the remainder? Dia kata the remainder, remainder ni bunyi macam sikit kan. Tapi sebenarnya a majority of the electrical energy is actually converted to heat. Or remainder, baki, sikit je. Tak banyak sebenarnya yang dijadikan sebagai heat. So part B, conversion of energy, you've got this filament lamp. Okay, you've got this filament lamp. So the input ataupun electrical energy intended when you have that electric field, it flows through the filament lamp. So the intended function of our system, in this case the lamp, is we want it to emit light. Okay, so but it is only 5%. So how do you comment on the efficiency? Is it efficient or not?
Tak efficient.
In fact, 90% of the original electric energy is converted to heat. So inilah antara disadvantages of using a filament lamp. Sebab itulah most of our electrical appliances right now are main dengan LED. Even including yang you punya panel floor punya lampu kan, kalau you tengok atas, tak tahulah bilik you guna apa kan, tapi dia technology has advanced. Contohnya kalau instead of using a panel floor lamp, kalau you guna LED yang panjang tu, dia ada dia punya advantages. Contohnya tak perlu gunakan starter, nak ionize the apa benda yang ada kat dalam tu lah kan. So that's the progression that we have already being made lah dalam electrical ni kan. Sebab LED light ni taklah nak kata dah lama ada, quite recently jugalah sebenarnya, a few years back dekat Malaysia. So the power radiated as light, you just take the 5% of 0.6 is equals to that. So sikit saja wattage dia. Okay. Ni tak tahulah kalau siapa yang suka main robotics ke apa kan. Kalau you ada kan, macam budak-budak, hari tu saya main dengan anak saya umur 7 tahun tu kan. Kan ada yang boleh beli kat MPH tu kan, robot yang kita boleh assemble, lepas tu dia ada solar cell tu, lepas tu okay, kita letak dekat matahari, nanti dia akan boleh jalan-jalan kan. So dia tengok hujan, tadi tu musim hujan gitu ke, macam mana boleh tak kita gunakan filament lamp kan, lampu-lampu bicik kan, memang tak boleh lah kan, because the wattage is not enough compared to actual sun kat situ. So saya pun research macam mana, berapa banyak watts ni untuk nak powerkan dia punya solar cell ni kan. Dia kata, oh kenapa? Guna-guna lampu apa? Lampu kereta. Lampu kereta yang tak ada lapis. Yang tu kalau you nak bukan dalam laboratory lah kan, sebab kalau nak pergi kat lab dekat UKM tu macam payah jugalah kan. So time tu dah lah hujan. Lepas tu anak pula nak kata, Abi kenapa benda ni tak bergerak? Alamak, macam mana kita nak buat kita tunggulah matahari keluar. Macam tu je lah. Alright. So itulah nak kata we try to create lah kan. We try to create light, but that is not comparable compared to the actual light that is being provided by Allah SWT from the sun. Inilah lampu yang kita buat ni kan. You just imagine lah, light yang kita dapat ni pun inefficient. Satu inefficient kalau guna filament, it's only 5%. And wattage dia tu, power dia tu sikit je berbanding dengan the actual light yang kita nampak as we see today. Sebab kalau lah light radiating from our laptops or our handphone sekarang, dia punya wattage dia tu tinggi, boleh jadi buta lah kan. Sama macam kita nak tengok the sun kan, kita nak tengok matahari, the wattage is very high. Okay, so now question part 3, the resistance of the filament lamp. R equals to V over I lah kan. So you get 3.8 ohms. Okay, straight away. Alright, proceed to the last question. A cell provides a constant current out to a circuit. The diagram shows the graph of a current against time. Part A, calculate the flow of charge Q in a time T when the current is T. Dia tak bagi apa-apa value. Kalau siapa yang terkejut, apa benda ni nak buat macam mana ni? So tak semua soalan-soalan fizik ke matematik memerlukan nombor
Formula.
Dia gunakan variable saja. In 2010 bila saya baru graduate, bila saya baru habis master, saya masuk UiTM kan as a lecturer. So bila saya masuk as a lecturer tu, I was assigned with one of my timbalan dekan, which actually was a friend of mine, because when I was doing degree dekat UK tu, dekat London, he was doing PhD dekat Leeds, University of Leeds. At that time I didn't know that, oh ni timbalan dekan ke apa, so panggil lah dia pakcik tau. Pakcik ni. So macam dekat UK ni banyak-banyak program apa semua kan, join usrah apa semua. So adalah tu dia masak apa semua kan. So kita panggil dia pakcik, relax. So bila balik tu 2010, bila masuk UiTM tu, oh timbalan dekan rupanya. Dia tahu. So what happened was, during that time bila masuk saja dekat UiTM tu, we did the research together. Not to say together lah, sebab basically kalau siapa yang nak masuk dalam academia line ni, you look at the number of publications that you produce tau. Publication ni apa? Publication ni maknanya berapa artikel paper yang mana you boleh tahu dia tu tulis berapa tu melalui Google Scholar kan. So kalau you nak search Google Scholar saya pun boleh juga, taklah banyak sana pun kan. Tapi nak ceritanya bila there was one research tau, ni tak ada kaitan sangat lah dengan physics ni kan. There was one research that we did, the performance of students in handling algebra if the question is asking using figures, numbers and variables. Is there a difference? Maknanya kalau lah kita bagi x squared plus y squared and then we have to factorize lah kan. We give equation, kalau kita suruh factorize kan. Is there a difference kalau kita substitutekan those variables using A, B, C and D, ataupun kita bagi dia orang nombor 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as we usually do in our working dan kita punya exercise kan. Rupa-rupanya memang ada difference, especially for Malaysian students. Kalau kita beri nombor memang kita rasa macam jam je kan. Sebab ABC ni sebenarnya kita guna untuk speed, kita guna untuk cakap-cakap, kita tak guna untuk mathematics ke physics ke apa-apa kan. Tapi kalau dalam science, dalam maths, memang the tendency of using figures sebenarnya is very less tau. We tend to use variables sebenarnya compared to numbers. Sebab no number is absolute, no number is definite. So sebab tu it's better to represent formulas, we represent apa semua tu kan. Sebab tu kalau you tengok mathematician kan, cerita-cerita mathematician, you tengok dekat dia blackboard kan, yang dia guna kapur kan, semua mana nombor kan, semua macam bahasa sendiri kan. So that's what we call the mathematical language lah kan. So, inilah question part A ni lebih kurang sama lah kan. Kalau semua, how to calculate the flow charge ni, T and I. It's not given any T, it's not given any I. Is it referring to this graph? Tapi graph ni pun tak ada value. Oh, mungkin dia referring to part C kot. So sebenarnya part A ni sebenarnya dia just expect you to know yang Q equals to IT tu je. So that means you just have to write down the formula tu je. Okay? Well,
Okay.
part B, justify the statement the area under a current time graph is equal to the charge flow. So it's just a matter of understanding graphs lah kan. Dia punya, kalau area under the graph ni, we are taking the integration of it kan. Integration maknanya multiplication lah. So area under the current time graph is equal to the charge flow. So when you have a graph, when you take the area under the curve, we call it integration process. But if you take the gradient of the curve, that is actually a
Differentiation.
process. Okay? Integration and differentiation. Practical in terms of curve fitting, or when you are doing graphs. So here, based on the figure, the area under the curve is actually basically an area of a rectangle, isn't it? So what do you do? Area of a rectangle is the sides lah kan, the multiplication of the sides. I minus 0 is equal to T minus 0. So you get IT equals to Q. Okay? Which is actually reflecting the same formula kat sini. Betul?
Yes.
Alright. Part C, alright. Baru ada calculation. Okay. Given the information in B is always true for any graph of current against time. Okay. Given that information, kenapa dia cakap macam ni? Given that it is always true. Kenapa dia cakap is always true? Kenapa kena ada disclaimer awal?
Sini tak true.
Ha. Yang lain-lain semua apa? Senyap lah. Diri saya kan okey sebenarnya.
Dia nak guna konsep tu for this 12C ni.
Okay, the reason why kenapa dia cakap given that the information in B is always true sebab question B tu ialah dia suruh proof. Question B tadi tu dia kata justify the statement. You have to justify. So probably boleh jadi true, boleh jadi not true kan. Sebab tu dia suruh justify. So part C ni dia punya mukadimah dia tu saja untuk nak kata oh it's just a way of people asking lah. Okay. So nampak macam panjang je kan apa yang dia nak tanya tu kan, tapi sebenarnya basically dia nak tanya apa je tau. Dia nak charge lah. Use the formula that you use. That means show that this under the graph lah kan. Itu sajalah. So since the total charge is the area under the curve of a current time graph, so we know that this is actually a current time graph. So Q equals to dia boleh buat manual sebab kita tahu we are Asians kan. Kita tahu ini ialah shape apa, ini trapezoid kan. Trapezoid ni maknanya yang ni campur yang ni bahagi dua darab dengan tinggi kan.
Yes.
Kita kena hafal waktu sekolah menengah kan. Ni kalau ikut dalam schematic answer CIE ni apa semua, dia suruh calculate kan areas dia separately. You calculate satu ni and then you add with that triangle here. Second. So this is the first one and this is the second one. And this is actually the safest way to do so. Because when you have, kalau you dapat graph yang pelik-pelik, tak boleh nak guna kita punya formula Asian yang kita pernah hafal waktu sekolah menengah kan. But here, dia bagi satu konsep, you just have to break it down into parts and then you sum it up all together. So the value is 750 coulombs. Okay. Question number 12. So, do you have any questions regarding this chapter that you want to discuss together? The strain, okay, the strain gauge, Okay, kita boleh tengok sikit notes lah where is it? Sorry, this is not the Z. Okay, you got this strain gauge.
Yes.
Request by Nurin. It is frequently necessary to test for the strains experienced in different parts of structures. This can be achieved using a metal wire strain gauge. The strain gauge consists of the length of a very fine metal wire sealed into a small rectangle of thin plastic as shown in figure 19.7. Tiba-tiba 19.7 lah pula kan. Nampaklah pipis. In use, the strain gauge is attached firmly to the structure to be monitored. When the plastic is stressed, R equals to rho L over A, rho equals to extension, reference, second edition. So dia nak buat apa? Apa yang dia nak buat? Macam ni lah. Okay. Have you ever imagined how they investigated the Young's modulus?
No.
The Young's modulus yang dia guna tensile strength tu kan? Dia kan ada device tensile strength tu kan? So bila dia tarik benda tu, dia nak tahu berapa punya strain kat dalam tu. Kalau ikutkan strain dia tu adalah yang formula tu kan, extension over original length tu kan. Strain gauge ni ialah dia nak monitor any structure. So bila dia nak monitor any structure, untuk kita nak tahu test for the strains experience in different parts of the structures. Bila kita ambil dia punya that one material, bila kita tarik, dia punya strain tu berlaku kat mana? But kalau ikutkan dia punya formula yang kita buat tu, epsilon over L lah kan. So that epsilon kita ambil dia punya extension saja kan over the original length. Tapi which area actually along the material ataupun the material that is being investigated tu, the strain actually occurs. So kat situ dia akan letak strain gauges tau. So strain gauges ni is a means of detecting the strain. So how does it do that? It actually do that by using the strain gauge lah kan. Itulah function gauge tu. You have strain and you have gauge. So what is a gauge? A gauge is, apa definition gauge? Formal definition of gauge ialah menilai sesuatu. So a metal wire strain gauge is satu benda yang digunakan untuk nak menilai ataupun untuk nak evaluate the value of strain on a material. That's it. Itu saja. And what is being explained here is how the process of determining strain tu macam mana dibuat kat situ. So this is a metal wire strain gauge. You've got the connecting leads, you've got a wire and you've got a plastic. So the strain is proportional to extension L and the strain is also proportional to the change in resistance kat sini. So connecting leads ni apa? Maknanya bila kita lekat satu benda, lepas tu dia ada wire, dia akan connect dekat kita punya power source dan juga kita punya dengan kita punya sense device kan, ataupun kita punya reader lah, benda yang kita nak baca untuk nak tahu the value of the strain. Apa yang berlaku dalam proses tu is like black box lah kan, although it is actually explained here. Tapi what we actually perceive kat luar tu ialah dia punya readings terus, berapa strain dia, the value of strain kan, over meter, per meter. Tapi how did they convert the extension yang berlaku kat situ sampai dekat reading tu? So itu yang diceritakan kat sini. So the basic concept kat sini ialah extension L. Sekejap just annotate here. So what is important that you need to note, extension L proportional to the change in resistance. So bila dia ada resistance, current yang sepatutnya ada, contoh so let's say for example this is a strain gauge. And this is for probably a voltmeter. Okay. And you have here. Okay. This is your strain gauge. Okay. So kat sini, apa yang berlaku kat sini, yang ni is connected to the material that is being investigated. Okay. So when this strain gauge is attached to the material, what happens is bila ada strain, dia akan increase in resistance. Okay, bila strain dia tinggi, resistance dia pun tinggi. Okay, apa formula untuk strain stress over strain? I think it's this one, isn't it?
Yang modulus.
Okay, ini buang. Okay. Bukan yang modulus yang modulus is stress over strain kan, but strain itself. So dia nak cakap bila material tu ada strain, resistance akan meningkat. So bila resistance meningkat, apa yang akan berlaku dekat voltage dia? Reader dia, bila kita baca dia punya reading dia tu, dia akan meningkat, maknanya dia akan berubah juga kan. So that proportionality is the basic concept of this strain gauge sebenarnya. Okay, iaitu apa? Strain is proportional to extension. Apalah kan, strain is proportional to extension kan. This strain is proportional to extension here. Allah. Okay, strain is proportional to extension. So when there is an increase in strain, there will be an increase in resistance. So when there will be an increase in resistance, there will be a different reading for a voltage. So this is the basic working structure of a strain gauge lah. Okay.
Faham sir?
Yes.
Saya pun tak pasti apa what was actually the problem in understanding the strain gauge.
Cannot visualize the whole thing.
See. Okay. So secara umum if I can help you, in sensing devices so we've got this sensing device, kita panggil SD lah. SD ni bukan statutory declaration yang suka statutory declaration, politics lah. And then you've got a circuit here. Adalah kan dia punya resistance and everything Tapi katakanlah yang ni kita panggil voltage lah voltmeter, of course dia kena ada power source lah kan. This is not the full circuit So this sensing device, it can be a strain gauge, betul tak? Apa lagi device yang ada dalam syllabus tadi?
Oh, LDR.
Resistor.
First one is the light dependent resistor, betul tak?
Yes.
Light dependent resistor ni maksud dia apa? Kalau ada light, dia punya resistance akan naik, betul?
Kurang.
Kalau ada light, maknanya resistance dia akan mengurang. So kalau kurang, maknanya ada perubahan dalam resistance the device. So dia akan berubah. So bila dia berubah, it affects the entire circuit, yang mana reading bila kita baca benda tu, dia akan berubah juga. So that is actually what we see on the screen. Okay, on the screen of the device, of the entire device. Okay, that is the first one. This is depend on light. What about the second one?
Mr. Depends on heat.
Okay, kalau yang first one tu dia dependent on light, the second one is dependent on what?
Heat.
It depends on the temperature. Betul tak? Kalau semakin tinggi temperature, resistance dia naik ke turun?
Turun.
Resistance akan turun. Betul Kalau temperature dia naik, resistance akan turun. What about the second one? What about the third one?
Piezoelectric transducer.
Piezoelectric transducer, apa benda lah benda ni kan? Benda ni apa benda ni? Piezoelectric transducer ni? Kristal lah.
Sound and
Tu dia buat macam tu lah, benda lah yang dia main dengan. Dia main kristal, dia emit ultrasound, lepas tu dia pantul balik kan. So kalau ada pantul berapa time masa tu, maknanya dia main dengan apa kita panggil sort of electromagnetic jugalah Dia main dengan ultrasound lah Maknanya dia ada benda yang menyebabkan litar ni, it affects the circuit. Okay, the first one was light, the second one is thermal, which is heat atau temperature lah kan. Kalau P ni kita nak panggil apa? Piezoelectric.
sound wave.
Sound waves lah sound waves ataupun sound waves lah Okay, what about the fourth one?
Metal strain.
Metal strain So yang tu apa dia punya working principle dia?
Strain.
Apa yang menyebabkan dia punya resistance dalam circuit ni berubah?
The strain from the what are you? The object, sir.
Sorry?
Strain from the object?
Strain from the object.
Yeah. Strain. No.
Yang lain-lain?
Force.
Cuba cerita sikit. Mana kelas rap tadi kata, oh lelaki, budak lelaki semua perform. Tapi bila minta jawab, budak perempuan je yang jawab.
Hmm.
Sectional error decrease.
What is the fourth one? Enggak.
Okay, kalau saya habis annotate ni dia akan keluar Okay, kita just tengok balik. Okay. This is the screen number 4. Okay, number 1 is LDR, then the one is thermistor, the other one is piezo, and the other one is strain. Strain ni maksudnya apa? The elongation lah kat situ yang tadi tu. The definition of strain, you have to recall the definition of strain. The elongation over the actual length. Strain lah bila dia tarik benda tu. Okay. So these four factors, right? These four factors actually builds up our sensing devices that are within this scope. So you've got number 1 is independent resistor, number 2 is your thermistor, number 3 is your piezoelectric transducer, and then number 4 is your strain gauges. Okay. Right. So that's it for this chapter.
Yay.
Any other questions? So hopefully you guys boleh absorb I look forward in reading all of your feedback notes as well as your quiz is already up online kan? Boleh jawab. So if you manage to answer the quiz before Monday, insyaAllah Monday tu kita boleh discuss. Okay? So strongly suggest try to finish everything by today so that esok you boleh relax, betul-betul bercuti lah kan. Sebagai penutup, within this last 5 to 10 minutes, let's just let me show you one last hadiah pada you all. Which actually has something to do with chapter 12. Okay, she's referring to the bonus slides. All right. So for this bonus slide, what do we have here?
Circuit.
This is a DC circuit. It's not just a circuit, it is a DC circuit. How do you know whether it is a DC circuit or not? Based on the symbol. Kalau ni dia ada constant positive and negative poles. So the direction of the current is consistent throughout the circuit. Sebab kalau you have an AC circuit, alternating current circuit, dia punya circuit tu kan dia boleh tukar kan, kiri kanan dan kanan kiri. Alright. So these are the three main components that make up a circuit, a complete circuit. So we've got the cell or battery that provides potential difference. Selalu guna term potential difference, kadang-kadang dia akan guna voltage kan. Dia beza sikit voltage dengan potential difference. Potential difference maknanya difference between the positive and negative, and it gives out potential energy. Okay. And then we've got the switch. If we switch on, we've got the resistor, where the resistor is actually provides a resistance. Kalau current tu for untuk kita nak evaluate the potential, if you want to evaluate the potential, you need to place the resistance so that current can flow. Okay, so the current can only flow when we turn our switch on. Okay, so when we turn our switch on, current will flow from positive to negative. Betul tak?
Yes.
Okay, ask you something. What happens if there is no resistor?
Voltage will stay the same.
No resistance.
Ha,
The current flow faster.
apa dia Syirhan? The current flow must what?
Faster.
Faster, without any resistance kan?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for your contribution. Lain?
There is no potential
Higher
difference.
magnitude of current.
Sorry, Daniel cakap apa? Daniel cakap ke tadi?
No, it's not fun.
Oh, suara kan? Amir cakap apa tadi Amir?
There will be no potential difference.
There will be no voltage difference Okay, thank you very much. Orang tadi jawab siapa Naufal
Yeah.
Okay,
The magnitude of current is higher.
the magnitude of current is higher. So kita ada seorang jawab pasal potential difference, seorang jawab pasal resistance, seorang pasal current, seorang lagi jawab pasal voltage. So what actually happens here when we switch it on? Dia macam you ambil bateri banyak-banyak ataupun satu lah cukup kan. Lepas tu you sambung wire daripada positif to negatif. Apa jadi?
Energy.
Energy. Apa dia?
Heat.
Heat energy. Okay. So this is an example. Short circuit should be avoided at all times. Without any resistance, what will happen? You will blow the thing up. Macam siapa yang cakap current will flow lebih tinggi, potential difference akan lebih besar. Betul lah tu. Jadi sangat besar sampai meletup-meletup. Okay? So this is a very practical example of it. Because you want to allow the current to flow a very fast speed of electrons. Dia bergerak laju kan. Yang positif dan negatif dia akan short. Lepas tu dia akan lintas pintas. So that's why there must be some sort of resistance in our circuit. And then it can regulate our circuit and it will not blow up atau dia takkan jadi short. Dia ada dua situation dalam circuit ni, nanti you akan belajar. You akan belajar dalam DC circuit nanti. Dia panggil short circuit dengan open circuit. Okay? Open circuit ialah apa? Open circuit ialah yang macam ni. Kalau kita tak switch on, kita tak turn on switch tu, dia akan jadi open circuit lah. Kalau open circuit, current akan equals to zero sebab dia bukannya complete loop. Tapi kalau kita terus direct macam ni, dia akan short circuit, dia akan meletup. Kalau siapa yang nak try boring PKP ni kan, ambil bateri banyak-banyak daripada semua-semua kan, kosong. Meletup kan. Ataupun you boring, you pasang plug apa-apa, you ambil circuit board tu, lepas tu you tekan jari you. So bila you ambil you punya jari tu kan, pop, wah, dia akan meletup tu, terbakar. Kalau siapa yang kat rumah yang ada lampu bling-bling kan, sempena Ramadan ke Syawal ni kan, dia ada lampu yang klip-klip tu kan, you main dengan dia punya dia punya board tu, you just tekan je, nanti you akan nampak dia punya short circuit, effect short circuit kat situ. Ataupun you ada tangan basah apa semua kan. So nampaklah dia punya resistance tu is important dalam circuit tu, okay? Kalau tak ada resistance, kita nampak macam mudah kan. Contoh macam jawapan Syirhan tadi tu kan. Kalau tak ada resistance, sepatutnya macam current tu senang lah nak lalu kan. Potential difference tu akan lalu dengan besar lah kan. But no, there is the important thing of a resistance. Kalau tak ada resistance tadi, dia takkan jadi. Alright. So, this is a bonus slide. Rasa-rasanya apa yang saya akan cerita?
It's in our life.
So kita tengok dalam Suratul Mulk. chapter 67 verse 2. Allah SWT says, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim, alladzi khalaqal mauta wal hayah liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwal azizul ghafur. What does it mean? He who has created. This is the second verse. Kalau ingat first verse kan, the first verse yang kita baca selalu kan, kat MRSM selalu kan, baca tiap malam kan, kat MRSM kat sekolah, kat rumah dah tak baca kan. Tabarakalladzi biyadihil mulk wa huwa ala kulli syai'in qadir. Wa huwa ala kulli syai'in qadir. Azim. Qadir. Alladzi khalaqal maut wal hayah liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwal azizul ghafur. He who has created death and life. Dia dua. Dia mulakan death dulu, kemudian baru dia sebut pasal life. Why? That is interesting. To test you, okay, liyabluwakum, to test you, ayyukum ahsanu amala, which of you is doing the best of deeds, okay? Wa huwal azizul ghafur, and he is the most exalted in might, the most forgiving. Right? So now let's look at a few things. You've got your potential, you've got your current, and you've got your resistance. So now, try to imagine the first thing that Allah SWT has created is maut, which is death. And then you've got life, al-hayah. Although we, as mankind, human being, usually perceive hayah comes first, then maut comes first. But in this verse, it actually is the other way around. Maut first and then hayah. The reason being, it actually encompasses the entire period of our life. The moment we are born, we were born, and then we are going to meet our death. All right. So that is life. Life consists of being born, and being died of and leaving this world. Why did Allah SWT do this? It's actually to test us. Liyabluwakum. And this test, or we call it the resistance, is actually to ensure that our deeds are ahsan, the best of our deeds. So if you recall the circuit here, we've got two circuits. One circuit with resistance and the other circuit without any resistance. Sometimes you'll be very happy without any resistance in life. But that will not actually produce the best of your potential, the inner potential of you. In fact, if you do not have any resistance, we would be scared if you will have a short circuit in terms of you tak akan sedar sebenarnya you dah tersesat jalan, because you akan leka dengan dunia kan, because there's no resistance. Okay? But if you have resistance, then you will be very composed and you will be very vigilant. Maksud vigilant tu apa? You will be very aware of what is actually happening around you. And you will not be oblivious. You will not be taking everything for granted. When you have tests and you are being examined in life, this is what we call examination and test in life. The examination and test for your A-levels, for your SPM, GCSE, degree and whatnot. This is life that we are talking about. And Allah SWT has given all these tests is actually to gauge, macam strain gauge tadi kan, to gauge our performance in life. Similar to our filament lamp just now. Kalau filament lamp ni, dia nak convertkan electric energy kepada light energy. Tapi because of the resistance inside the filament, the way the material is being produced, eventually it actually dissipates more heat energy compared to light energy, and we know that it is an inefficient system. So kat sini kita tengok the full potential of our filament lamp is not maximized or optimized, but instead kita hanya menggunakan 5% of our actual potential, which is actually going to waste. So kat sini kita kena ingat betul-betul, our life and our death consists of tests by Allah SWT, not by our lecturers. And Allah SWT, dia sengaja bagi ujian-ujian tu. Ujian ni pula dia boleh jadi internal, dia boleh jadi external, dia boleh jadi perasaan. Kadang-kadang kita rasa sedih, kadang-kadang kita rasa boring, kadang-kadang kita rasa buntu, tak tahu nak buat apa. But all in all, we believe our faith as a Muslim, we believe everything is being planned by Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Contohnya, Januari tahun ni tak terlintas pun dalam fikiran saya yang saya akan balik ke College Madrasah untuk nak berjumpa dengan you all tau. Itu happen bulan 3, tersangkut dekat sini, dekat KMS. And tak ada siapa plan sangka untuk tiba-tiba kita kena communicate cara macam ni. So ini semua kita panggil sebagai takdir kan. Peraturan ataupun benda-benda yang Allah SWT has already set for our life for a reason. And we need to find that reason. And in order to do that, we have to maximize our potential. Potential tu maksudnya potential difference kan? Potential voltage. Our potential tu apa? Potential in terms of our academic potential, our emotional potential. Because Allah SWT has created humans ni memang ada potential yang sangat-sangat besar. Lagi-lagi lah you guys yang memang yang talent punya talents tu, potential tu. So we have to actually maximize, galvanize our potential to the optimum level. But we need to define your current. You have to define your direction. Especially in a direct current situation. Kalau you alternating, sekejap ke utara, sekejap ke selatan, tu you tak tahulah mana you nak pergi kan sebenarnya. Yang tu you kena ada Wheatstone Bridge. Wheatstone Bridge untuk nak tentukan it must be in the positive direction saja. Tapi you need to define your current so that you know where you are going. If not, you will be lost. Takut silap bulan, you pusing balik dekat diri you sendiri and you become this short circuit situation. Boom, short circuit, mental health issue, depression, mati. Bunuh diri, wa'iyazzubillah. And benda tu memang berlaku. Di kalangan student pun banyak. Macam sekarang dekat UKM kan, because my wife is actually working as a medical doctor dalam university, and bilangan student yang datang complain about their mental condition sangat banyak. Even dekat dalam waktu period PKP ni pun ramai student yang terpaksa tinggal dekat IPT, tak dapat nak balik rumah, semua datang mengadu they don't know what to do lah. Tu dah kira macam dah orang Melayu kata apa, kilang keruan lah kan, dah tak tahu mana nak pergi dah. The current is lost. Pusing-pusing dah banyak kali short circuit sampai mak muka semua dah hitam-hitam apa semua. And then we need to know our resistance. Who, where, what should be our resistance in life so that we can go through it, kita boleh lawan benda tu, and then we can actually live our life. A complete loop circuit. And dia tak jadi open circuit yang mana kita tak ada current pun tak ada apa semua tu. And resistance ni banyak in life kan. Resistance bila kita fail exam contohnya, bila kita tak dapat result yang baik contohnya, bila kita tak dapat nak faham. Kalau orang yang jenis yang girlfriend boyfriend tu, bila dia break, dia seolah-olah rasa macam benda lah the biggest resistance in their life. But no, it's not. Dia ada the biggest resistance dalam kehidupan kita, and that is being said in the Quran. So, 3 points that I would like to leave for you. Maximize your potential, optimize lah sebenarnya. Optimize your potential, define your current, and know your actual resistance to complete your circuit. If not, you will be lost. And then, everything will go to waste, insyaAllah. So with that, insyaAllah, ends our discussion on this chapter 11, current of electricity. So I'll be seeing you again on Monday, insyaAllah, for the discussion of our online quiz. Kalau semua dapat siap, kalau siapa tak siap, nanti kita fikir cari yang lain, insyaAllah. So have a good long weekend, Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And I would like to take this opportunity juga untuk cordially invite you for my short 1-hour seminar on Saturday on interacting with the Quran the engineering way, insyaAllah. So I'll be giving out the advertisement for you. Ni kira macam invitation special lah for you guys, and it is not limited for only you. You can actually invite siapa-siapa yang berminat juga. So you kan memang ada apa alumni MRSM macam-macam apa semua tu kan. So all of you are cordially invited. Kita akan buat belah pagi sebab waktu tu lah internet semua masih lagi okay. What we'll be discussing is on how we are supposed to interact with the Quran from an engineer's perspective. Tapi kalau ada kawan-kawan yang ambil medik pun tak ada masalah juga, masih lagi sains. Okay, so insyaAllah if you want to attend, just inform me, then we will be sending out the link. It will be done dalam Webex lah. Webex, sebab Webex ni dia boleh tampung up to 1000 participants at one time. Okay, this is the full account. Tapi tak tahu lah, mungkin yang datang nanti Sabtu pagi tu tak sampai pula 1000 kan. Tapi I would cordially invite everyone, insyaAllah, and you can invite your friends juga, insyaAllah. Wallahu a'lam bishawab. So I guess that's it for now. If anything, you can always ask me dalam group, ataupun you can directly personally message me, insyaAllah. Okay, so back to our class wrap for our wrap up, insyaAllah.
Subhanakallahumma bihamdika asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus solihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Amin.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, tunggu jap. Nak print screen. So siapa yang ada video boleh on. Tunggu semua orang buka video dulu. Oh, kemar rambut dulu. Ada lagi yang nak buka video ke? Alright, okay, 1, 2, 3. Alamak, ada lagi nak buka. Lagi. Okay. Bawahnya saya nak print screen ni. Benar. Alright, see you guys. Assalamualaikum.
Bye. Thank you, sir.